Hey guys, I'm here today with a book haul for you. This book haul is probably going to be coming to you in a few different parts, as I've acquired quite a few books in the last few months from various different locations. This first part of the haul that I'm bringing you today consists of books that I got at a bookstore in Nashville called McKay's. It's a used bookstore, and they also sell used CDs and games and movies and things like that. My mom actually had a few gift certificates to the store, and she very kindly let me use some of them to buy about 9 books, which I am going to show you now. So the first one I have is one that I had never heard of. I was just browsing the shelves and seeing what I could find that I was interested in, and this one caught my eye and the description sounded really awesome, and that is The Blue Umbrella, a novel by Mike Mason. From what I can gather from the synopsis, I think this is sort of a magical realism middle grade. I haven't read the synopsis of this since I got it a couple months ago, so I don't really remember exactly what it was that intrigued me so much, but let's read the synopsis again and discover that together. So it says, the life of 10-year-old Zach Sparks changes overnight when his mother is killed by lightning. He's sent to live in 5 corners with his aunties, 2 cruel old hags who seem determined to make his life miserable. Before long, Zach realizes something really strange is going on. 5 Corners is populated with weird characters. A midget butler, a girl who doesn't speak, a blind balloon seller, and a mysterious singer he can hear but not see. So that's probably the line that I was pretty much sold on this book. But it goes on to say that, then there's the auntie's father, Dada. Zach's first encounter with Dada is so terrifying he faints dead away. The one bright spot is Sky Porter, a friendly soul who encourages Zach and shows him a kindness that is lacking from his dismal life. But Sky isn't what he seems either, and when Zach learns Sky's secret, he realizes to his dismay that this wonderful man may have a very dark secret side after all. So that just sounded super intriguing to me, and I'm excited to dive into this and see what I think of it. The next one I have here is Peter and the Starcatchers by Dave Barry and Ridley Pearson. This series is one I wanted to get into for a while. I'm a major Peter Pan fan. It's one of my favorite books ever. And so anything that has to do with Peter Pan, I'm going to want to read. So I wanted to get in on this series. Next one I have is Doll Bones by Holly Black. This is one of her middle grade novels that I've had my eye on since it was released a few years ago. It's kind of an adventure story about these kids named Zach, Poppy, and Alice, who have for their entire lives been playing this ongoing game. A game that takes place in a world populated with pirates and thieves, mermaids, and warriors. And then they haven't played it in a while, I think, and then one day they decide to play it again and something strange happens. And they have to go on this quest to figure out what's going on and to save themselves from some sort of evil bone china doll. I don't know, it sounds really dark and captivating and intriguing, so hopefully I will enjoy it when I get to it. This next book is The Night Fairy by Laura Amy Schlitz. I have kind of an interesting relationship with Laura Amy Schlitz, which you might know if you've watched some of my previous videos. I've read 2 of her books, I think, and sort of enjoyed them. I think I've rated them both 3 out of 5 stars, so it's kind of that middle of the road rating that you don't really know if you enjoyed it or didn't. It's just kind of that in-between feeling where you're not really sure about it. And my friend Katie has actually read this book and didn't really enjoy it, I don't think. I think she gave it 2 out of 5 stars. I probably wouldn't have picked this up if I hadn't have gotten it so cheap, used, and in such good condition, a hardback with just a beautiful cover. So I probably wouldn't have picked it up if it wasn't for those things, but I think it's a very short book, and I think I'll just give it a quick read, and if I don't enjoy it, you know, no harm, no foul. I didn't pay too much for it or anything, so I think I'll just see what I think of it just for fun. The next book was another blind pick that I hadn't heard anything about before, but that sounded really interesting to me, and that is The Everlasting Story of Nori by Nicholas Baker. Let me just read you the description of this really quickly so you can see why I thought it sounded interesting. It says, Nicholas Baker, known for his exuberantly detailed comedies of ordinary life, now turns his attention to the inner landscape of a 9-year-old American girl, Eleanor Winslow, who is spending a semester at an English school. In this good-natured and very entertaining book, Nori reawakens our images of childhood and captivates us with sophisticated insights. Her observations are hilarious as she tells herself stories, defends a classmate, has nightmares about cows, and generally does her best to make sense of life's particulars, noting it all down with innocence and candor. So that just sounded really intriguing to me, and I really liked the cover as well. So I just thought for, you know, a couple bucks I would pick it up and see what I thought. The next thing I got was a really awesome find, I think, and that is the Complete Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. I'm not exactly sure. I've heard this name pronounced multiple times and in different ways, so I'm not totally sure if I got that right. I'm very sorry if I didn't, but this, of course, you've probably all heard of. It's a very famous graphic novel that is on pretty much everyone's list of must-read graphic novels about a young woman growing up in Tehran during the Islamic Revolution and just kind of her coming of age and how she interacts with her family and things like that. So I am super excited to get into this, and hopefully I'll love it just as much as everyone else does. The next book is another middle grade, no surprise there, I'm sure, and that is the Trilogy of Two by Juman Malouf. I'm sure I'm butchering that. I am so sorry. That lady right there, that's her name. So the author both wrote and illustrated this book, and as you can tell, it's absolutely gorgeous, and the same type of illustration on the cover is the same illustration style that you get inside, and it's just completely beautiful. Here's an illustration on the inside, and then there are smaller illustrations throughout the text as well. It's fully illustrated in this kind of pencil black and white style throughout, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. And I'm not exactly sure what this is about. I think it's about these two identical twin sisters who are orphans and have grown up performing in a circus in an alternative kind of like dystopian future Dickensian London. I'm not exactly sure, but it sounds amazing. And I did a little research and found out that the author is actually Wes Anderson's girlfriend, so that's really intriguing and exciting as well. I really enjoy his films. So I just think it's going to be a really interesting, kind of dark, Victorian-esque tale, and I am really excited to get into this. And my friend Katie has actually read this and rated it 4 out of 5 stars, I believe, so that makes me even more excited to get to it and see what I think. Next to last book that I have is Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor. This is the follow-up to Daughter of Smoke and Bone, which I read last year and really enjoyed. It's an urban fantasy series that has angels and demons and other sort of mystical creatures, and it's a really unique take on that whole kind of genre, and I really enjoyed it. And Laini Taylor's writing style is so beautiful and atmospheric, and I would really recommend this series if it sounds like something that you would enjoy. It's actually a trilogy, and this is the second book, as I said, so I'm hoping to get to this pretty soon. And then the last book that I have to show you here is yet another Peter Pan type tie-in, and that is Fairy Dust and the Quest for the Egg by Gail Carson Levine. And this is something I've had my eye on for a long time. It's about the fairies of Neverland, of course, as you can see. This is a series as well. I think it might be a trilogy, or there might be 4 books. I'm not exactly sure. But this is the first book in the series, and it follows a new fairy that comes to Neverland, Priya, I think her name is, and just her trying to fit in with all the fairies and find her place. So it's just going to be a very simple read, I'm sure, and it's illustrated throughout in full color. These are the end papers. I really love the illustration style. It looks like watercolor maybe, which I really enjoy. There's another little illustration. So yeah, like I said, I'll read anything that has to do with Peter Pan, so I'm not expecting a whole lot from this, not like a literary masterpiece or anything, but I'm excited to experience the story nonetheless. So that is all I have to show you in this part of my haul. Hopefully I will have the next part up soon, which will probably be books that I've made from various book outlet orders. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have read any of these books and enjoyed them or not enjoyed them, let me know in the comments down below. If you're intrigued by any of them, let me know that, of course. And I would be especially intrigued to know if you've read or have heard of The Everlasting Story of Nori by Nicholas Baker and The Blue Umbrella by Mark Mason, because those were the 2 that I had never seen or heard of before. So if you've read those or heard of those, I'd be especially interested to know what you think. That is all I have for this video. I hope I'll see you in the next one.